I was given some tickets to come to London Zoo Nights, and it's basically London Zoo open up the zoo from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. to let you see all the animals at night. And actually some of them are more active, so you're going to see things that you might not see in the day. A word of warning, the zoo is absolutely huge and there's so much to see. So if you're going to spend a decent amount of time with each enclosure, then I would definitely pick out a few things that you really want to see and head to those first. For me personally, I didn't really have a major preference, so I just walked around and I went with the flow and I saw what I was meant to see. I think that worked for me, as I really feel I saw some amazing things. I had a really great night, better than I was actually expecting, and I even hit some of the animals at feeding times or rare occurrences when they came out. So I started at the reptiles and amphibians exhibit, which is actually the newest exhibit to be added to London Zoo. And I definitely spent too long in here, that's for sure. I didn't realise just how huge the zoo was, and I walked around searching for every single animal in here and taking pictures of them all. But anyway, here is a Philippine crocodile. There's only 120 of these little guys left in the wild, and the zoo is actually hoping to work on recovering the species. It's a relatively small species of crocodile and they can live up to 100 years. These little guys were one of my favourites in here. They're the Kaiser mountain newts, and unfortunately they're critically endangered, partly because a lot of people have been taking them as pets. Another one of my favourites from here was this frog, which is a Lake Oku clawed frog, and it actually comes from one tiny lake in the Cameroon. London Zoo were actually the first to successfully breed this critically endangered frog. This little guy is a Lake Titicaca, I hope that's how you pronounce it, water frog, and how can anyone not love this little guy that actually looks just like a troll? I don't know who remembers them with the spiky hair. This next animal is actually the world's largest amphibian. It's a Chinese giant salamander, and I felt really sorry for it because the 3 people that walked up to this animal whilst I was there all said, "Oh, what's that?" And I just thought, oh bless, I find it really cute. And it's got these tiny little eyes and it's almost blind. So their skin is actually covered by sensory nodes, which helps them detect vibrations and find their prey. So at their full size, they can grow to 1.8 meters in length, which is the size of a fully grown man. And they are actually descended from an ancient group of salamanders that lived over 170 million years ago, all the way back in the Jurassic period. They had these little holograms on the floor that absolutely scared the living daylights out of me, because a crocodile shot in front of me when I didn't realise it was going to be there, and I had no idea what it was. I genuinely thought it was an escaped amphibian. This next exhibit was the Giants of the Galapagos habitat, and it basically has giant tortoises in it. These amazing tortoises can live for over 150 years. Despite their somewhat hard exterior, these guys are real softies underneath it all, and unfortunately, due to their gentleness, they have not been very good at fending off predators over the last few hundred years. I was actually really impressed with all the habitats here. I felt all the animals had a lot of space, they were full of vegetation and things to do for enrichment. I've actually not been to zoos for the very reason that I'm really into animal welfare, and I've thought a lot of them were cruel. But from visiting this one, I actually left feeling surprisingly positive. I felt all the animals had a really enjoyable enclosure. My only possible exception was the birds, because I'm always a bit funny about any bird being kept in a cage, however big. But I really did feel a lot of care was taken in every enclosure for the animals' welfare. And with so many animals sadly becoming critically endangered these days, I do feel some of these breeding programs are necessary. This was Penguin Beach, and this was another one of my favourite areas. I love this section. So I think I just missed a feeding, but the good thing about that was that as I walked in, all the penguins were still hovering around and you got a really good view of them. I think because there'd just been a feeding, there was a heron lurking around and loads of seagulls flying around as well, hoping to get in on a bit of free food without the effort.
Sorry, well, I don't have time to get you. It's there. Come on over. Hello, boys. Come on down there. Hello, well done. Hello, boys. And then the last over next to Joe, we've got Popeye and Ollie. So we've got green-throat macaw, blue-throat macaw, hyacinth macaw, and then the rest are all blue-throat macaws as well. And I'll give you a bit of information.
So I managed to hit the macaws when they were doing feeding time, and the lady gave us lots of information about these birds. So this next one, which is the darker blue coloured macaw, is called a hyacinth macaw. The hyacinth macaw is the largest parrot in the world, and their beak pressure is so strong that they can easily take apart the bars of welded wrought iron cages. I do love birds, and I'm a bit gutted that I missed the bird safari, but it's something for me to be able to go back and see, and it's definitely on my bucket list. So next I'm at the Land of the Lions, and I did appreciate a lot of the artistic effort that London Zoo put into its sections. So this one really takes you into India, and it has a mini temple theme, and then there's even a whole street that looks like it's an Indian marketplace. They also had a few games, but I definitely wasn't going to waste my time with that. I had a lot to try and fit in and see. In hindsight, maybe the lions was a little bit of a mistake because I didn't really see any, and you do walk quite a long way round. I did see this big male lion sleeping, but he was at quite a distance. The Land of the Lions was opened by Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip in March 2016, and I did really appreciate there was a lot of attention to detail in this section. I really loved this vibrant Indian marketplace theme they had going on. It was super cool, and although I didn't really see any lions close up, you did get to see this video cam footage of some of the baby lions that have just been born in spring 2024. So the parents are Banu and Arya, and the little cubs were named by school children, and they are Sayani, Shanti and Mali. So this next section, Tiny Giants, was a really underrated must-see, and I think it was actually my favourite section in the whole zoo, which might sound surprising because it was full of insects, but I honestly found it so interesting. So up first were these locusts, and you could see them feeding on things and clinging to the glass. And then these cockroaches, and I love the setup here that they made a fake kitchen with fake dirty pots and bits of food, and you could really see the cockroaches eating and destroying the kitchen. Then we have the cute little stick insects, and genuinely it was hard to work out sometimes what was a stick and what was an insect. I think this one was an insect. This section had to be my absolute favourite thing that I saw at the zoo, and I don't know why I'm saying that because I'm actually terrified of spiders, but there was something about this that was so cool. And it's a spider immersion therapy room, which helps you to kind of get used to having spiders around. And I honestly couldn't believe it. I was not expecting this. It's actually the UK's only spider walkthrough, and literally nothing stands between you and the spiders. And they're not just any old spiders, they're huge golden orb spiders and Madagascar weavers. They are so up close and personal that I was looking down at something and I went to stand up and somebody else in the room said, "Whoa, hold on, don't stand up. There's one right above your head." And I thought he was joking because he knew that I didn't like spiders and I had a little bit of a phobia. But he was actually legit, and there was one that if I'd have stood up any faster would have been in my hair, and then I probably would have screamed, and then the whole thing would have been really embarrassing. But I do want to get better with spiders because I have no ill feeling towards spiders. I would love to love spiders and get over that irrational fear that I have of them, and a lot of us have of them as well. So I thought this room was absolutely incredible for just coming face to face with your fear and trying to rationalize it in some way. So these species of spider obviously are completely harmless and they're quite docile as well. They tend to just hang around in the middle of the web, else they obviously wouldn't be free roaming. They do grow very big though, and they have been known in the wild to even catch birds in their webs. They grow that big. Here they have a mini section of coral reef, and unfortunately it didn't look as good on camera as it did in real life because there was so many neon vibrant colours in here that just didn't seem to show up when you turn the camera on. So next we're at Monkey Valley, and this was another one of my favourites that I saw as well, and it's full of colobus monkeys, and again you can walk with the monkeys, so there's no fence between you and them. And these little guys were absolutely adorable. I was hoping one of them would just jump and run onto my shoulder, but it didn't. But they were so cute, and it was just really nice to be able to walk around and not have everything behind a cage or a fence. And I really loved the fact that the zoo has got several exhibits like this where you're not just animal behind a cage and you actually get to properly interact with them. So there were a few other monkeys to see, but I really wanted to go and see some other things and try and catch as much as I could before the zoo closed, as it was getting close to the end now. And I managed to see one of my favourite animals on the way to my next exhibit, which is the flamingo. I absolutely love flamingos. They're just a personal favourite of mine. So the only thing I really wanted to see actually was the outback, because it had wallabies, kangaroos, emus, ostriches, that kind of thing, and I just thought it would be really cool to see. But then when I got there, I really regretted that because I wasted a lot of time trying to find it. And this little wallaby, I think it's a wallaby, it was very cute, came up to the glass, but that was it. That was all I saw. And I just think there was other things I probably would have rather seen more with limited time. But anyway, very cute. And I just managed to fit in the tiger territory. And not only did I fit in tiger territory, I actually saw the tiger. And I did hear a woman walking just in front of me say that she'd been to the zoo XY amount of times. I can't remember what she said, but it was a lot. And she'd only ever seen the tiger out once, so she wasn't expecting it. So it was really special and fantastic to be able to see this tiger that's obviously eyeing everybody up inside the glass. And I know some people might say it was stuck there, but actually you didn't even see any of the other tigers. So if they wanted to get away from people entirely, they absolutely could. So literally as I was being kicked out, I saw an opportunity to run down and see a few more animals where there was no security guards, and I just quickly got to see the alpacas, the llamas, and this very cute grumpy looking camel. I love camels. Maybe they're not everyone's cup of tea, but I love them, and they're also highly intelligent, and they really either form bonds with people or hold a grudge for a long time. So then I was really kicked out, and all the animals needed to go to bed, and a security guy followed me out of that section. But the zoo itself was open for another hour, and they had a guy playing some really nice indie tunes from the sort of 90s, 2000s. I can't play them because then I'll probably get a copyright strike and demonetized, so I'll just leave him on silent. And they had some drinks and marshmallows and food stalls. And then as you exited, you went through the gift shop, which was absolutely huge. There was so many cute things in there. They had pretty much every animal you could possibly hope to own something from. And here's my little spirit animal again. They had some great comedy gifts in the reduced section, like these sloth masks and the walrus. Is it a walrus? I'm not sure actually. If you know what this animal is, let me know in the comments below. I really liked these sloth magnets. I thought they were very cute. And also these animal face mugs. The little octopus one was definitely my favourite. And so that's everything from the zoo, and now it's time for me to go home and maybe return and see all the exhibits that I didn't get to see on this visit. There's still quite a bit left.